When I was a child, I could feel everything. I have remembrance or memories of sensations in my body and understanding a little bit what was going on around me. As young as a couple of months old, I have memories, even as a toddler, of seeing my surrounding, my environment, the circumstances, the situation I was in as a toddler, and having a completely different sense of what that actually meant in my being, in my physical body, in my understanding. And I wasn't understanding with the thinking mind. I was understanding with my soul, my energy, I think. And as I grew older, from toddler to child and so forth, I also started to feel more of not just my emotions, but other people's emotions. And in a lot of the times I probably didn't know which was mine, which was not. But one thing I've always able to feel and understand and see, I use the word see, but it's not from seeing in the environment, it's from seeing through the soul, is that whatever was happening, however intense, negative, chaotic, peaceful, loving, aggressive, I could see, I could feel that it was coming, whatever was coming, it was distorted, and that was still coming from unconditional love, but how it was being transmuted through the person's mind and how they were presenting in that situation was distorted. So it for me, it was about not really taking in how those situations for its truth, even though some of those could hurt, and I did hurt. And I did hurt because as I was developing from child to pre-teen and teen and all those ages, we are developing a thinking mind. We are, so somewhat conditioned, somewhat programmed in society, in family culture, in routine, in anything. And so it's inevitable that there is some hurt. And even after, I think between 7 and 8, 9, perhaps, there is this transition where you kind of have no other choice but to follow through this conditioning programming pathway, and then your senses kind of slow down or diminishes or even shut down. And as you rely more on these, as I relied more on these conditioning and programming coping mechanism, I forgot to rely on my own soul knowledge, my own soul understanding of what really the situation is and where people are coming from. And now as an adult, I'm going back to that inner child and really validating how I actually saw the world then, really validating that for myself, and also realizing that, I was right. I was right not to think that person was evil, or not to think, even though I got hurt through it, I was right to think that. But as I got older, I lost that connection to my soul. And at that point, I think this is where we protect our sacred heart. It's a huge, huge mission. It's a huge job to protect our soul, to protect our heart. And our soul has the creator light, the divine light within. We all carry it. It's in there. And the fact that no matter how the situation you were going through and where you're in that transition, or maybe the situation forced you out of your soul body into the thinking mind, into the programming, the conditioning, whatever situation forced you out, or whatever situation you find yourself transitioning naturally into, that the fact that we shut our heart chakra, the fact that we protect it, is that we did the best that we could. We did the sacred soul love, unconditional love to ourselves to protect this light within. And even though we must have gone through adult life with trauma bonds, trauma, PTSD and all sorts, you name it, whatever we protect it in there, your soul, your light, your heart is intact. And all we're doing is to shred this layer that we put around it, little by little, by going through those, releasing those layers to go within further and further, so that your heart can open. It's open, but you can see through your heart. You can feel through your heart again, like you did when you were a baby. That you can understand and see the world through the unconditional love, where you know what's coming at you is distorted by their own programming, by their own conditioning. And this is what the Wisdom Activator 369 program that I'm offering on Patreon does for us. It assists us to activate back this loving, unconditional love way of feeling and being and seeing the world for yourself and through others, not for others, but through others, so that we can find that inner knowledge, activate that inner knowledge that was once there. And you remember this. You remember this. You remember those early moments as a baby, as a child. And you probably have, as a child, question, why are they arguing? Why are they fighting? Why are they doing this? They don't need to do this. Everything's love, everything's beautiful. And you remember that. And eventually that faded. And we did the best that we could have done. We did our soul mission. That's one of our first soul missions, is to protect that heart. And you did it with love to yourself. But now it's time to open. Now it's time to unfold it. Now it's time to uncover it. Now it's time to bring that back into your life. And live that in that way. Yeah, in that unconditional love. And this is what the Patreon that I created brings us this support. We're all going to be guided there, and I can guide you in remembering, activate you in remembering, so you can start using yourself. You can start remember how you did it. You're not going to learn my way. You're not going to learn anyone's way. You're going to be activated, and then you're going to use it for yourself, your way, your skills, your abilities, your love. So ask you to now just go into your heart. Feel the beautiful heart that you have. And if you resonate and you feel called, have a look at the Patreon. There's 3 levels of memberships. All levels, you are well supported, well guided, and well activated. It only depends how fast, accelerated you want the journey to be. But look at tier 1, have an experiment, have a trial, and then you decide when you're ready. But in tier 1, you will be activated daily, okay? And you'll be supported, and you will understand inner truth of yourself. I send you love and light.